Hey YouTube, it's Gonna Run 13, and I'm going to throw you out a little review on a little knife here. I love talking about knives just as much as anything, and I've been wanting to throw up a little a review on this knife. This knife is quickly becoming my kind of my go-to knife when I'm out in the woods, and I like to always have my Becker BK2 usually on hand with me. Maybe another larger size knife for the majority of your outdoor chores and your stronger work, like shelter building or processing wood, batoning wood, chopping wood, stuff like that. But I like to have a second knife option for more delicate, smaller, close-in work. And for that, I like to use this knife right here. Now this knife is by a famous brand of knives. It goes back to a company called Mora out of Sweden. And if you know or heard anything about Mora knives, you can pretty much ask anybody that gets involved with knives. Mora makes some of the best knives you can get. And the greatest thing about these things are they're very economical. Very economical. I've had quite a few Mora knives in my life, and they usually run around $15 to $20 range, somewhere around there. And still to this day, they're pretty economical, just as economical. This knife cost a couple bucks more than that. This actually cost me, bought this earlier this year, and this thing cost me $30. They go for $30 right now. And this knife is just, I think they took their line of knives a little step further with this design. It's a little more, actually a little longer of a knife, and a little more bulkier, and it gets a little bit away from your traditional Mora neck type knife, but it's still pretty much the same. This actually is based on their BushCraft series, and this knife right here is actually called the Mora BushCraft Force. I'm sorry, Mora BushCraft Force, and they came out with this. I think it was last year. The BushCraft series, which I think there's a total of 4 different knives in that series. All pretty similar, but this is the one I chose, and actually I purchased 2 of these. I purchased one for my son for his very first fixed blade knife, and also I purchased one for myself just because once we got the knife for my son, I liked it too much and wanted one for myself. So when I'm doing a lot of light, delicate, small work, small chores, whittling small, delicate things that I'll need a smaller type of knife for, not necessarily a bigger knife for chopping and such. This is the knife that I usually will have on me also, so I like to go with 2 knives. This is the knife, so we'll go ahead and let's do a close-up on this knife, guys. And I'm sure all of you out there for the most part have heard of Mora knives. They've been around for quite some time, and they're still made in Sweden, and this knife is no exception. All the Mora knives, a lot of them come with a similar sheath. This is a little different than their standard sheaths, but they're all kind of this similar design. It's got a pretty cool color to it too. I like this, which is very handy, because I tell you what, you lose your knife in the woods, you are definitely SOL. And this makes it a little easier to be able to find it, if you were to drop it. But it's still, it's just got a really good look to it. I like it. I don't know. This is kind of this kind of stood out to me when I was first looking to purchase a new Mora knife, so that's where I looked into it, and basically based off of the specs. I was looking for a nice bushcrafting knife. So this is the sheath. You know, it's kind of a rubbery textured feel to it. It's got this little belt loop right here. Let me go ahead. Make sure I'm in frame here, guys. It's got this little belt loop. It's a rubbery textured feel to it. It's got this belt loop that can be removed. And you can convert it to be worn on your neck if you would like to. So you know, that's another extra option you could have on it. So let's go ahead and remove the knife from the sheath and give you a look. Try to get you guys a good close-up view here. Bring you in a little bit. Alright, bring you out a little bit there. Okay. So this knife is made of stainless steel blade. Okay. This is the steel is actually made from Swedish steel called Sandvik 12C27. I do actually have a couple knives with this actual steel, the Swedish Sandvik 12C27, and I'm actually a pretty big fan of this now. I'm becoming a fan of this Swedish steel that they use. It's quite nice. What I like a lot about this knife too is the actual grind that's on there. I am a huge fan of the Scandinavian grind to a blade, and if you look closely, you can definitely tell this has the Scandi grind to it. I'll show you the other side here. It's a very sharp knife. And that's your Mora logo right there. Overall length of this is around 9.5 inches, roughly. And the blade length is actually 4.5, close to 4.5, just shy of 4.5. Comes with a rubbery grip type of handle. I'm not quite sure exactly what the grip is made out of, but it's very comfortable. It molds to your hand very nice. It's got no jimping. It's got a little like jimping on the actual end of the grip right here. Nothing on the actual blade, but that's not a big deal. You could get up nice and close for delicate small cutting. And it's got that same color as the sheath around the end and the end of the blade right here, the top of the handle and the end of the handle. Fixed blades, to me, a number one requisite on a fixed blade knife is a full tang, where the actual blade tang goes all the way to the end of the knife. And this is one exception to it. This tang actually goes to about right here on the end of the knife, which is, I'm pretty much, that's close enough for me to take as a full tang blade. I'm not worried about anything breaking off from that point. You know, as far as if it were to end, like say right here where the blade, you know, is less sturdy and can snap or break off of the handle. So this is just as close as full tang, so it does not bother me at all. Like I said, this blade is a stainless steel, and it's the Sandvik Swedish 12C27 steel. Very sharp Scandinavian grind here, and all in all, this is just a nice little knife to get in there for fine detail work. I highly recommend it. $30. The BushCraft Force and Mora, you can't go wrong. These knives will last quite some time, but even if they do, you know, go on you eventually. It's only a $20, $30 knife. Like I said, most of the Moras are $20, so you really can't go wrong. Very, very, very good knife. So, sorry, I can get you in frame right there. So what I want to do is zoom out a little bit, maybe show you a little cutting, kind of give you a general idea. This came straight out of the box, very sharp, and I haven't really had to touch up the blade at all much, for the most part. So pretty razor sharp. Oops. Pretty much cuts through paper like anything, or if you were to shave the hair off your arms, no problem. So, oops, still holds that factory edge right there. Like I said, very sharp right out of the box. Nice thin slices, no resistance. Catches the paper really good. So this is a high recommendation that I have for anybody looking for a mid-level knife, not too expensive, for the finer detailed bushcrafting work that you may need this knife for. So this is knife review here, guys. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of more knives, and you know, I got some more knife reviews coming up in the future and other good stuff. I'm going to be using this knife tomorrow for a little bit. I'm going to go get some dirt time out in the woods. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, there are morels in my area, so I'm going to be searching for some morels. That's if you guys know what I'm talking about. And so we're going to get out and use this a little bit tomorrow. So, gonna run 13, guys. This is another video for you, and we'll see you later.